Yeah, you can minimize that window. You don't need to see that.
But it says that we're not going. Okay, we are going.
Yeah.
All right, you're good.
Yeah, okay. Welcome everybody to the February 19th, 2026 Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency regular monthly board meeting.
Yeah, you gotta mute the computer.
There we go. All right. Our first order of business is roll call. James Gordon is here. Donna Egan.
Here.
Erica Brown.
Here.
Mike Baden.
Here.
And Chris Holbrook. Here. And Mark Ryder of staff.
Here.
Timothy DeGraff is excused tonight. Angelina Brandt. Welcome. Tim Wiedemann.
Excused.
Okay. Nancy Lamb.
Here.
And our recycling coordinator here. Our recycling enforcement officer. And please, for the record, that I don't remember your name. I just want Robert, right? Robert Kevin, yeah. Robert Kevin, yeah. I just want to let people know when they see him on the screen, who was here. So thank you. Mhm. Okay, pledge of allegiance, please. Let's all stand. Pledge of allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
First order of business is public comment. Please, when you, does anyone want to speak? Okay, so please identify yourself and where you're from for the record, please, and speak. Remember that this is recorded, so speak loud enough so that people who are listening at home can hear. And please, sir, do you want to go first? Okay, Susan, do the rest.
So a few of us are here from the Hudson Valley Air
Okay,
Coalition.
could you please identify yourself for the record, please?
Lorraine Farina, I'm the director of the Hudson Valley Air Quality Coalition. We recognize the interconnectedness of air, land, and water, but of course, our primary focus is on air quality. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. We're concerned because there's a lot at stake for our entire community with the decision about the anaerobic digestion facility. It uses very complex technology. There are several places in the process where risks to our safety and health increase. Number one, there has been little or no public education around this project, its process, products, and byproducts. Number two, the process has progressed into a contract phase without providing the public the opportunity to ask questions, express concerns, or consent. Number three, the scale of the proposed project is very large. Large-scale plants have efficiency protocols that may require importing waste from other jurisdictions in order to satisfy those needs. Number four, we would like responses to the air quality concerns we expressed in our letter to UCRRA board and Executive Director Ryder. The concerns in the letter raise the possibility that there might be health effects for decades. Number five, my experience as the former 6-year serving chair of the Air Quality Subcommittee of the Kingston Conservation Advisory Council, visiting the Poughkeepsie trash incinerator a few years ago, taught me that incinerators, but also anaerobic digestion plants like this one being proposed here, are not independently monitored by DEC. Instead, the for-profit company is responsible for any monitoring and reporting. It's not required for the for-profit company to use the highest standard of monitoring or to disclose quality assured but unmanipulated live data to the public. Because it's not to their benefit, we have yet to see a for-profit company provide those data. This fact is worrying. I'm going to pass it off to another HVAC member.
Thank you.
My name is Desiree Lyle, and I'm also a member of HVAC. We have a couple of questions that we'd like to pose. Under the current proposal, will this plant likely need to solicit waste from other counties due to the scale of the project and the efficiency requirements for the digestion facilities? Number two, why are you pursuing this contract before the Ulster County mandated zero waste plan has been implemented? Number three, what are the potential effects of this plant? Please provide peer-reviewed third-party studies of the local air, water, and soil and health plants this size using the same technologies and processing proposed waste schedules as this plant. Number four, how does this proposed plant fit into Ulster County's air quality initiatives and goals?
Hello, my name is Robert Fanchel. I'm also a member of the HVAC. We request that the process of installing an anaerobic digestion plant be paused so that UCRRA can answer the air quality concerns raised in our letter, And two, the zero waste implementation plan that was passed by the Ulster County Legislature in 2019 and first be implemented. Entering a contract like this means that the voices of Ulster County legislators have not been heard, and that UCRRA is proceeding to this contract step without honoring county passed zero waste implementation plan legislation. We should not be entertaining this sort of contract without first having a coherent and actionable zero waste implementation plan. Thank you.
We generally don't answer questions at board meeting. We like to hear what you have to say. And as you know, from the fact that we did not go ahead with the landfill because of public opposition, we do listen. We are transparent. And these answers that you're seeking will come out. This is very early in the process. We are not committed to anything at this point. It's more in the nature of an exploratory foray into updating a system that is archaic. Will it land where we have it now? I don't know. Honestly, I'm the chair. I don't know. There's a good chance that it might. But if that happens, it's going to be done step by step in a way that answers these questions because legally we have to do it that way. Okay, so they're good questions and we want you to keep your interest and we want you to keep asking us these questions, but we're not going to answer them tonight. Thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
Cover what I was thinking. Go ahead. Okay.
State your name for the record, please, ma'am.
For the record, Manager Green, Rosendale resident, and I want to honor all the concerns that were raised by the air quality people. And I want to say that I don't have a position one way or another. I'm really trying to keep an open mind on the waste to biogas facility. But I do think it's critically important to get an independent greenhouse gas inventory that includes full life cycle and compares different potential technologies, particularly this one with what we're doing now, sending it to Seneca Meadows. And I share your concern about urgency. But one of the questions that I have, given that it's a put or pay agreement and the agency isn't doing the bonding will be done by Global Energy. But it is put or pay, and when concerns are raised that we want to maximize waste diversion by source separation and the Reuse Innovation Center and all the things that are already being proposed. But there's a contradiction in terms. The more you pull out, then where do you get the tipping fee revenue to pay the company that is financing the project? And the answer is we can get waste from other counties, but it leaves me feeling confused because I don't think other counties will send us their waste when we need it but not send it when we don't. You know, I do think that needs to be clarified. Is it going to be a regional facility? You know, what's happening with that? The air quality and I think I had a third point, which I'm not remembering at the moment. Oh, I wanted to let everyone know that I've been in touch with Chris Hewitt, who chairs Energy and Environment, and they have worked out an agreement with a company called MSW from Florida to help the county finish the zero waste implementation plan. They are meeting, they being, I think, himself and either Amanda Laval or Andy Bicken, but they're meeting with the company, and then they will include Mark and I think a few community members that have been very concerned and involved. So it looks like that will move forward. I understand why the agency doesn't want a pause, but I am very encouraged that these be done simultaneously, and it looks like that's going to happen. And so onward, and please take seriously the greenhouse gas and the air quality issues. Thank
We
you.
do. Thank you. I don't think there's any other public comment.
I could do one,
Okay.
a quick one,
Sure.
that,
Please
I
identify
understand,
yourself, ma'am.
oh, yes, Claudia Joseph,
Thank you.
just representing myself, and I, understand it's a hard problem to solve, and you're really trying to find the best solution. And I wonder if we can start with the diversion part of the equation, before we decide on the plans, that we need training programs, we need to start pulling stuff out now, not wait till we have our whole system figured out and then start that. It feels like that might be like the complex personal part of the equation is making sure good stuff isn't thrown away and then redistributed. So I wondered if there's a timeline for that.
Okay. Thank you for those comments, and we mean it, we do listen, and we do consider them. Thank you. Okay, so
We'll just actually mention one thing,
Mhm.
that I am meeting with HVHQ next Thursday at their meeting
Okay.
to do a presentation.
good, okay, great.
Appreciate your 26 to do that.
So I will have these answers for your questions, and then we'll report back at the next board meeting the answers as well.
Thank you.
Well,
So, we're moving on to the approval of the agenda. Is there any changes that any board member or any additions the board member want to make to the agenda tonight?
In the meeting minutes last month, Robert was told out as making a presentation or talking, or put you on the spot. So I just wanted to give you credit if you want to add them on. It's under committee reports
Well, I was thinking he would do the staff reports.
or staff, sorry,
Yeah.
staff
Yes,
reports.
I figured under staff reports when we get to the recycling.
Or you just answer
I
questions.
mean, typically,
Yeah,
it's
the report is here, the report is.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
Somebody agree, and yeah, I always like to hear what he has to say. Any other, that's not really an addition, so we don't have to do anything. Any other changes?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of approving the agenda as presented? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you. Right, approval of the minutes. First, the December 12th, 2025 special meeting minutes.
And you want to just think possibly the answer group, there's no reason we can't unless there's.
Well, I just want to give people a chance.
I had changes.
Okay,
To this particular set?
Not to the 12th.
Okay. Anyone have any changes for the 12th?
you know, motion second. For discussion.
Yes. Okay.
make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, so motion is for discussion. Any discussion on December 12th? No, okay, then all in favor of accepting the minutes of December 12th, 2025? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. The minutes of January 8th, 2026, motion for discussion, please.
Which one?
January 8th.
No,
The organizational meeting, I'm sorry, right, thank you. Organizational meeting,
Motion.
okay, second?
I'll second. Oh,
I like yourself, I'll second it. Okay, any discussion on the January 2026? meeting? Special organizational meeting, yes, thank you, Mark. Okay, then all in favor of accepting the January 2026 organizational meeting minutes? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. And now the January 8th, 2026 regular board meeting minutes, accept the motion, please, to discuss.
I'll second it.
Okay, there we go, all right.
I do have comments on this one, so I would like to add page 7 above executive session. I did talk to Mark about this today, but I just want to, in the record, that a member myself identified that there are 11 federal holidays, 12 New York State holidays, and 17 or 16, I'm sorry, I didn't look it up, holidays for agency paid holidays.
Can you give me an idea? I see page 7, but where's
Right before, Nancy had.
We have the revised.
It's after based on what we talked about earlier.
okay. See, all right. So you want to, so right here, executive session.
No, I'll read above it.
Right above it.
So
Okay.
do you want to read what did you write? Get time for any of you
Right.
or?
I wrote,
Oh, there's one.
After CBA, I wrote, Vice Chair Donna Egan pointed out that federal employees have 11 holidays, state employees have 12 holidays, and UCRRA employees have 16. I have to confirm that it's 16 holidays.
It's 15, but there's 16 on the thing.
Okay,
The office gets the 3rd of July off and this operation stuff gets off, so you don't get both. But it says the day before July 4th and July 4th. Anybody who works on a Saturday gets a paid holiday, but if you get paid on a Saturday for a paid holiday, you don't get Friday.
So 16 paid holidays.
So it's 15 paid holiday. You're getting one or the other. And we have the same number as the county. That's not in the minutes, but.
So then the other thing is, I don't know if you made the edit already, but it just was like some wordsmithing. Mark stated that employees, a lot of which work outside and breathe air.
Yes, I should say, potential toxins. We think the potential toxins in the air.
yes.
Well, that I think is inflammatory, and that's not what was said. So what was said? That's
I
not what
think
was
that's
said.
what was said, and that was the
I'll-
gist. I might have said breathing in the air, meaning the air of the toxins. So if we're summarizing, it was the reason I was talking about it, yeah.
I can go back.
You need to go, in this case, I want you to go back and read it.
Yeah.
And do that before we approve these minutes, then. Because I don't believe that feels.
That was my intent.
Doesn't matter what your intent is, it's matters.
So this may have been in the air. So then, then it was actually.
Well,
So you want to table the minutes?
Yeah.
So like,
Well, I'll just- Yeah, we just withdraw the motion. No action.
okay, let's just do that.
Okay, another, sure.
So for next month, we'll, I get that and I'll approve those. Great, thank you for catching those. Right now, the next order of business is establishing the regular monthly board meeting and time. I think we're all agreed on the 4th Thursday of each month, with exception of November and December. Is that board with everybody's understanding?
Yes. Which is the.
that's what he was talking.
Yeah.
So what is the November?
That's gonna be the second. This will be the second Thursday.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Wait.
Okay, so let's also get the time too.
Two in there?
It's in the resolution.
It does say.
Yes.
Cool, all righty.
Are we good with that?
Well, yeah, we just polled the board.
We
If we're
gotta
good
make,
with 6,
gotta
we're
make
good
the
with 6.
motion first before we discuss it.
I motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So I understand the board is happy with this proposed schedule and the new time would be 6 o'clock. Okay, so all in favor of and I'll read it for the record. The remainder of 2026, the regular monthly board meeting is scheduled for the 4th Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. In November and December, they will be held on the 2nd Thursday at 6 p.m. All in favor of?
Aye.
Opposed? No, aye as well. Okay, great. So just for the public, does someone have a calendar handy? What is our next meeting then?
Our next meeting is
26th of March.
March 26th. Okay, so the next meeting of the Ulster County, next regular meeting of the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency Board will be March 26th at 6 p.m.
Just as point of order, we should make sure the county legislature, because they have us on for the 3rd for the entire year.
Molino was waiting for this and then.
No problem. Just want to make sure it didn't get missed.
Let's move on to reports, committee and reports by board members. I will start. I was at the state of the county last night. We did not come up in any context that is useful to us. Few people said nice things about us, and I spoke to a woman from the Cornell Cooperative Convention who was interested in digesting. But I always have trouble with that. What comes out of anaerobic digestion? So we want to discuss that. They said they may have some expertise to share with us. It was all very preliminary, but I'm going to follow up and reach out to her and find out, you know, what she suggested, who we suggested talk to, and how we'll listen board and Mark. And beyond that, it was, you know, it was a nice event, but it didn't really impact us in anything. So that's my report from last night. Does any other board member have anything they want to share with the board here?
Went to the recycling oversight committee meeting. It was January 14th. Not quite sure when the next date is, sometime in April. I know that we said that's either the first week or the third week. And I had asked Mark to print out questions, so you've got those
Great.
questions that Aaron has sent over to Mark, because Robert was also present in that meeting as well. And so a lot of the discussion was around UCRRA and some of these different points. They've definitely discussed some of the vacancies, which they have. You know, they're looking for a municipal like recycling coordinator, and also they're still looking for someone in the multifamily dwelling. Man, I texted a few people and they were like, "No, thank you." But anyway, so I think that they can take some recommendations or suggestions, I should say. And Nana, I know that you had brought, I think it was the letter around, was it the letter from the air quality?
Kingston, or not, Kingston Citizens.
The Kingston Citizens, Nana had brought that up, wanting to talk about collaboration and bringing more collaboration into the process. So I want to make sure to mention that, even though it was on the agenda. But I feel like it's easiest laid out right here. So I guess if anyone has any questions, feel free to working to work. Or Robert. And it was great. It was lively. People had a lot of questions and there was a lot of clarity that came out of that meeting. You know, some things that folks didn't know cleared up, which is great for further education.
Well, thank you for doing that.
These meetings live streamed, like can we,
They're not live streamed, but if you go to the website, there is a link to audio, so you might be able to check out the audio, but I have not yet received the minutes.
who's the chairman?
Aaron,
And so she's supervisor.
Maybe suggest to have her live stream. It would be great to be able to participate.
I don't think the
Even
county,
The
silently.
county who
county
does that.
doesn't have, they don't have staff member assigned to them.
Yeah.
So they don't have the technology capabilities of doing it, but they record it. And then that's put up on the website.
Could the committee live stream it just on a phone to Instagram or something, even if you want to see it?
I mean,
It wouldn't let.
you'd have to check with Aaron.
Yeah.
Maybe.
yeah.
Um,
Without a staff member assigned, I can tell you from having tried to done that myself many times, it puts a lot of work on the chairperson to try to run the meeting and do the streaming and all that. So many of those subcommittees, the county, the thing to do would be to ask the county chair to supply staff to those meetings.
Any other discussion on that? Okay. So then,
Mark.
let's move on to the recycling program update.
Sharon. So there were no outreach events or tours in January, which is normal for this time of year. In the first quarter, my focus really turns to reports and grants and some other administrative matters. However, our social media, digital and radio outreach is ongoing, which you can read more about in the report. New for this year, I added a new row to the media announcements table on page 1, so you can enjoy a little bit more detail about the performance metrics that my team is looking at on a monthly basis. So for example, our social media content had over 34,000 views and 480 interactions on Facebook and Instagram. Our web links that we included in our newsletter had 546 clicks to our website And there were 167 unique chatbot interactions on our website in the month of January alone. So just a sample, again, of some of that detail that we're actively monitoring. One new media piece that I like to highlight this month, which was not included previously in your board packet, Mark, is our 2026 MRDC list. So we update this list annually to reflect the waste and recycling services offered by our towns. We tried some new methods of collecting the updates this year, and I think that greatly improved the way that we're collecting information and also describing the town's services. So that's a print version of that flyer, and all that information is now up to date on our website as well. So please feel free to reach me with any questions about that.
We were waiting for a town or two, which is why we didn't stick it in the packet. We were trying to give the last few responders time. We have all but one response. Did that? I do.
Absolutely. And occasionally there may be another project that I wanted to focus on in more depth during this time with you. And so included in your board packet this month was our 2025 program impact story that highlights some key results from our outreach programs throughout the year. So for the benefit of the public record, I'd love to share just a couple quick highlights of that report, and just start by saying that, you know, measuring our reach in our outreach and education program really helps us communicate our the tangible impact that the resulting outreach team is making through all of our efforts. And that data helps us to evaluate, again, our project performance, which outreach strategies are successful, what our return on investment is, and how we're spending and stewarding agency funds towards things like advertising. And also having real-time data helps us when we go to compete for grants or report on grant projects. So program tracking is something that's always in my rearview mirror, and we're very proactive about that. So some of our main points of pride: we had over 2,000 adults and nearly 800 children that had direct face-to-face engagement with us through 28 workshops, 27 tabling events, and 14 facility tours last year. Given that our peak season is April through November, that's about 9 programs per month, or 69 total for the whole year, which is great. The report, as you'll see, will highlight other key program areas like International Compost Awareness Week, the Ulster County Fair, our bin rental program, our hazardous waste collection events, composting, our volunteer program, and much more. So I hope that you engage with that content in more depth, but for brevity, I'll proceed right on to some advertising information. So almost 50% of our recycling outreach team budget is dedicated to this concept of advertising. We do that in a lot of different ways. We have over 300 commercials that air on Radio Woodstock on a monthly schedule, with topics ranging from reuse and repair to textile recycling to electronics recycling, celebrating various eco-based holidays and things of that nature. We also have 200 announcements that we air on Radio Kingston, which is March through October, and that's where we're promoting agency recycling and safe disposal services and have more of a general agency mission kind of message. We do paid print and digital advertising across 3 different local publications, so you can read more about that in the report. And increasingly a key target for us with our messaging, really getting it out there and reaching people, is social media. And so our social media campaigns follow a monthly theme that kind of paces with some of that radio content. And our Facebook audience has grown by 60% over the last 5 years. And our Instagram audience has grown by 75% over that same period. And that's mostly organic growth through, again, mentioning how to stay connected with us at all of our other programs and media assets. And so last year we shared 185 posts, 46 reels, and 12 stories. We had 1,600 content interactions on Facebook. So that's likes, shares, comments, clicks, and a reach of 144,000 253. So reach is counting the number of accounts that saw the content online throughout the year. And I'm pretty impressed by that. Similarly on Instagram, we have 1,200 content interactions and a reach of over 17,000 Instagram. Then we have a newsletter that we send out. We had 14 newsletters last year. And we've also seen a 54% increase in the newsletter audience since 2021, which is great. Lots of data about our website you'll find in there too. We had over 86,000 sessions on our website last year, which really shows people are engaging with the content there and really getting what they came for and coming back. So overall, I think our strategies are really diverse and high performing. I feel really confident in the metrics in that report. And I think it helps, again, tell our story about the ways that we're trying to get the word out and the ways that we're reaching people. So thank you for engaging with me on that content, and with that, I'll be able to take any sheets that you have.
I have a question. I love who I'm seeing repost the UCRRA, especially on Instagram. It's like mainly Viv. It's just really great to see different people doing it. And my curiosity is, because I see a lot of people sharing and reposting and all that. I wonder, or I offer you information about maybe figuring out how to get people to follow. So maybe they're like in the story, there's like a follow button, like just some way of folks not having to do too much more work, but to get it so that, you know, they're getting that information instead of just seeing it. Because I see it being shared all over the place and I love that. And, you know, my gears are just churning. Like, how do we get people to click that follow button?
Great suggestion. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for
I actually have a couple, but I've been a pretty avid recycler for a long time, but there's a couple items that people have asked me if they're recyclable or not, and I gotta be honest, I'm not sure the answer. And looking at our information, I'm not sure the answer. So I figure if I'm confused, there's a lot of other people confused. So the first is things like Christmas wrapping paper, or not tissue paper, which I know is not, but actual wrapping paper. I brought a big bag to our transfer station, prepared to throw it in the garbage, and they told me, "Oh no, you can put that in the paper." And I thought I remembered that it was not recyclable. So that's one question. The second one is the plastic white takeout containers, not clamshells, but the actual takeout containers where the lid goes on,
The quart and the half.
much like you get from
Like
Chinese food restaurants. Are they recyclable? Because the same material is what's making up like our butter containers and our yogurt containers, and those are. So the question is, are those, I know the black ones aren't, but the white ones. And then I had a third question about this report, but if you wanted to handle those two first.
If it's okay with you, I want to frame my response around the ways that we want people to seek answers to questions like
Yep,
that, and
yep.
I'll answer your question.
Okay, and that's fine,
Okay.
because I've got people asking me, and I don't know the answer.
Absolutely. So I mentioned our chatbot. That's one of the newer features that we have to improve information literacy.
And that's on the
So
website?
that's a live AI chat assistant where you could type questions to, and it pulls from information from our website. So you could type in, is Christmas gift wrapping paper recyclable? And it will come up with a response for you, pulling from different assets on our website. One of those assets, which is another layer of that information, is our recyclopedia. So we have over 150 items listed in great detail in our recyclopedia that you could look up local recycling guidelines, not just bottle and can recycling, but anything from tires to air conditioners to scrap metal to single-use plastics or bubble. So there's, you know, we're always revisiting that, adding things as we learn more leads and trying to make that as robust as possible. So those two are there at any time, 24/7. And then we also have a recycling hotline where people can call us for more like complex questions, but we do get questions that range all over the place, from as simple as something like gift wrap to I have asbestos insulation. What do I do? In fact, in January, this number's fresh in my mind, we spent 13 hours on the hotline talking with people about questions like that. So those are three of the primary ways that people can always get that information. They can direct message us on Facebook, they can email us, call. We have people stop in the office too, bring bags filled with stuff, and they're like, okay, what do I do with this? We'll help them sort it out. So holiday gift wrapping paper, 99% of that paper that you encounter is recyclable curbside. As long as it's not glittery or has a metallic infusion to it. Sometimes you get metallic paper that doesn't really tear very easily.
Yeah.
So go ahead and recycle that along with paper bags, paper,
Perfect.
tissue paper, all that. So regarding takeout containers, and our messaging really focuses on emphasizing shape. So when I hear the phrase like a Chinese food takeout container, there could be like three different things come to mind for me.
Yeah, I'm
So,
talking about the plastic ones that are.
You're talking about soup,
so
or are you talking about?
No,
well, let me
yeah,
proceed.
yeah,
So
yeah.
a couple different things come to mind, and that helps
Yeah, I just want to be clear about what I was.
how complicated it is to
Exactly.
talk about these things. So let's have a shared vocabulary around it. So a Chinese food takeout container that holds soup more closely resembles a tub, a food tub, like for butter or yogurt, right? So by shape, tubs are highly recyclable, and I would be encouraging people to recycle that shape. A Chinese food takeout container that's shaped like a rectangular box that has a lid that detaches more closely resembles the shape of a clamshell container, and it's a square box and is not a round bottle, jug, jar, tub, or lid. So the shape is the first clue that that might not be recyclable, but I would encourage people to check their local guidelines because recycling flows to multiple places in the county. By and large, I've found those containers to not be recyclable. And then lastly, a Chinese food takeout container might describe a paper box or things like this. And so because a paper box has a waxy insert that's fused to the fiber, that often renders that not recyclable. Similarly with a paper coffee cup. So a simple question like that, but like, yeah, it's complicated and we get that.
No,
So
understood.
we just say by shape, bottle, jug, jar, tub, or lid. If it's a round food or beverage container, it is most likely recyclable.
Yeah, I've seen, but you just led me to a follow-up question, if you'd allow me
Yeah, go
to.
ahead.
So I understand that rectangular shape is not the same shape as a tub, but it's the same material. It's not, the clamshells, undoubtedly, they're that very thin breakable plastic that is probably gonna last one time. I mean, many people bring those, you reuse those other ones, but that's why, I'm in my own household, because we had that question, because my partner, when she lived alone, her company took these. And I'm like, no, you can't put them in because they're not recyclable. But my question is, when they're the same material, isn't it the material that's really the driving force of what's recyclable rather than the shape? And I'm not trying to make it difficult, but I'm guessing a lot of these are either going into recycling and either shouldn't be, or they're being thrown away by people like myself and we're putting them in landfills. So I almost think we should, and this is not we need to answer it right now, but I think we should make some of these things, we should make definitive answers for the consumers, because the local transfer stations don't really know either unless we direct them. And that's where I feel there's a lot of confusion, because there's a lot of Chinese restaurants in Ulster County, and they're almost all using these now, and they're not the typical clamshell materials.
Yeah, so before Angelina, yes, the answer, but before she does that, I would say the first question, if people come up to you, it's where are they taking it? Because the answer that we're giving is for the town transfer.
Well, that's what
If they're talking about curbside,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even get into all of the rest of it. I would say contact your hauler.
No,
Because
yeah, this is clearly, and maybe I wasn't specific enough. This is clearly for people who are taking it to the transfer.
that comes here.
Yeah. I mean, I've had people stand there and say to me, is this recyclable? And I'm like, oh,
I also would recommend coming and sitting with Angie. When I came and sat with Angie, like I learned about, this piece of paper, if I were to rip this off, then I should actually take it and put it into something larger, like an envelope or something, because this is not very helpful. And
Yeah.
it's helpful tips, but sitting with Angie was really, really helpful.
Understood. I also think if we make it too difficult for people, they're just gonna give up and throw it away. And, respectfully, I understand they can go to the chat bot, and I just think a lot of people aren't gonna bother. They're just gonna go, it's too much work, and throw it away. So I just think we need to make it as easy as possible.
I went to the chat box. That's exactly the same answer that she did.
I have a question about the chat box, because I find that really intriguing, actually. Do we communicate through social media that people can do that? I've gone to the website, I see it, but I don't natively think I can just ask a question about what I can recycle, but that's really cool. I think it's a good use of AI and smart technology. That might be something to think about telling the public that they can do. I'm also curious, you had a number like 180 or something sessions or chats. Are people asking about these types of topics? Or are we able to see the trends
Yeah,
that
we
people
have,
say?
So for the chatbot or for our website?
Chatbot.
Yes, we have a lot of detail on the content of the questions, and I'm counting conversations, but that doesn't necessarily mean interactions. So some of the conversations have multiple questions.
Yeah.
So I'm not counting that. I'm counting just unique instances where people interact.
Are people asking these types of questions though? Like, can I recycle this? Or is it like, where should I go?
It's
to
a
recycle
full
it?
range of questions. A lot of e-waste, a lot of HHW related, facility access questions. Hey, are you open on pump day? No, how do I come? Those kind of
That's a cool resource. I think we should, yeah.
it's learned a lot. I mean, we're in our second year on it, and, early on, it was having to be redirected a lot. But and it started with kind of the administration team kind of taking the lead on it, and then probably 6-7 months ago, it transferred over to the recycling outreach team, and so I don't know. It may still need to get corrected from time to time, but not very often.
Yeah, we look at it on a weekly basis so that we can intervene if it's giving inaccurate or confusing information.
I also want to mention that it's, Angie puts out a kick butt newsletter as well. So if you're not signed up for the newsletter, I highly recommend it. It's like beautiful, it's engaging, it like keeps me really drawn in. And I mean, I'm not just saying this, it's whatever. I'm saying it because I think that Angie is incredible. Yeah. Well, it's boosting you up.
Yeah.
It's a great job.
That chat bot, it only draws from, right? It doesn't go out.
Correct.
It has to do its own thing,
Correct.
right? So it's pretty cool.
Well, it's been interesting. It's a little experiment, I can say, just to see how people are interacting with AI.
Yeah.
And almost like they're testing what it's gonna say by asking odd questions. It's like,
Getting frustrated.
or like asking the same question like 5 different ways to see if they can trick the chatbot. So it's it's a learning experience for us all and how we handle things like that. And it's very interesting.
Sassy things in here.
Yeah, but
Very sassy.
Please don't take it, I'm one of those people who would do that, but there's an awful lot of people who just, it's tired, they're overwhelmed by the whole thing, and, it's hard enough to get that group to want to recycle. So when they really actually are wanting to do it, they don't want to have to go to, and please don't take, and the people that are going to it are probably the people that were going to recycle anyway, I'd be honest. It's a cultural thing, and coming from a very rural community, where 50% of the people or more use the transfer station, it's a big deal, I think. And that's what I think we have to remember sometimes, is that not everybody is going to be savvy enough, aware enough to try to use the technology, and at the end of the day, they just want an answer. And usually they're going to go to the transfer station people for that answer. So, or somebody that they see at the transfer station. And that's where all this came about. People came up to me and went, "Hey, can I recycle this?" And
You just look like you have natural authority.
no, they know me as former town supervisor. So they come to me to ask a question.
Well, I think that's a good discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the good work.
I did have one other question, and this is something Matt is not here, but Mark may remember, they came up when we had the legislative subcommittee to talk about the UCRRA. It was reported, and I can't say whether it's factual or not, that many or some of the transfer stations were and Jim probably remembers too, were taking Freon appliances and possibly not potentially removing the Freon before disposing of them. Or they were sending them to somewhere that was saying, oh yeah, we're removing the Freon, and it was never verified whether it actually was happening or not. So I don't know if that falls to us to have to worry about.
AC thing.
No, I agree.
We don't permit them, we don't register.
Okay.
We have no oversight on the MREs.
Okay,
And I'd add the facilities that they are working with are vendors that are certified in New York State. And so
Okay.
those are processes that are
Okay.
like higher than our
Yeah.
jurisdiction. That if there are ever any community concerns about that, I would say start with DEC.
okay.
Um,
And that's what I just, because I was surprised at the number that are actually say they're accepting them, because I don't remember that it was that high in the past, but, and coming from a community that was using a company that would come, and then we would put the metal in the metal bin, the remainder, and it became a profit maker, minor profit maker, but,
I think that's what, there became more awareness and,
yeah.
so.
I will say too that Angelina really redid the structure of the
Yeah.
survey this year, and we had check boxes. So we got a lot more information. So if this looks like it's a lot it's a lot more MRD, it may not be that they changed things, maybe that they're
Maybe that they-
reporting it
yeah.
better because we gave them better,
But this is great news, because it looks like they're doing a lot more recycling in items that they have options of, and that's great news. So, thank you.
Do you mind if I have one last note? Just because I always bring this up, but it would be great if we had a meeting with all these people. I know we tried that and it was
We
very
have
low.
We've done multiple, and
But
it's now in their contract. So
Yeah, so I mean, we gotta drive that just because it wasn't successful the first year. Maybe, it's important to keep up with it because then you can answer all these questions and develop those relationships and show people that chatbot, make them comfortable.
Yeah.
Great.
it wasn't just like a first year meeting coming on. This has been an ongoing, the recycling outreach team has consistently had and held these meetings, whether they have had takers on the MRDC side, trying to get the information out well before I came, a week before Jelena started in that role, but this is an ongoing meeting. It typically has had, even no matter when we schedule it, we typically don't get people. We offered to pay people last time. We got 8 or 9, 10, which was better than prior years, but not 19. So, and there was a couple people from the same one. So it's maybe 5 or 6 municipalities really represented. But now it's in their contract. And when we scheduled the dates that we've talked about, I think early fall.
And will it be all 19 together, or will it be?
We're gonna, it'll be 2 different options. So that, and it'll be in a time that they're all not working.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't,
Sounds
no,
like
I mean, we have, it's something that we're doing every year,
Just one
the
point.
information up.
Bear in mind, though, if you're doing it when you're not working, you should reach out to the town supervisors, because they're probably not paid if they're not working, because many of the recycling centers who are open 5 days a week, their employees are limited number of hours. So,
I get it. That's why we offered to pay them a voucher. So we can't do it when they're open because most of the transfer stations only have 1 employee, or many only have 1 employee. So they're not gonna close. So we did it and we looked and each place was open. I mean, each place was closed for at least one of our meetings. If they want to send them when they're open, they can too.
yeah, but my point is just to reach out to the supervisors, because they can authorize them to be paid for that period of time. Because I could understand that you're not gonna get a great turnout if you're asking to do it on their time off. So.
Recycling is complicated.
It's-
So the, speaking of which, yes, the MSW tons report.
Can you do this now?
Well, I was gonna wait till after we were done with the tonnage report, but
Because Robert's here,
Robert,
and then
do you wanna
if
go?
you wanted to,
Sure.
knock it down.
yeah, why don't we go ahead? Yeah. Idea.
I know last month there were some questions about the inspections that I'm doing of the transfer stations. So right now, this is my current inspections form. When the truck comes in, I get a copy of their license plate, and then I photograph the loads that they're bringing in and document the contamination. But I actually want to change this form into a carbon fiber form where I can actually write down all my documentation. I want to be able to hand the driver a copy of the slip so he can see the contamination. Then I want to be able to send a copy to the company, and then I want to have a copy for our hearing officer. That way, when we do the hearings, everybody was informed. I feel like it kind of holds the driver more accountable rather than just seeing me, handing him a piece of paper, showing him. Because a lot of the times it's on the driver. A lot of the times the driver doesn't want to drop the load off, go back, finish. You know, it's a timing thing. So I feel like rather than just seeing me there, actually handing them the slip of paper, letting them see the contamination may be more effective.
To make it yellow and make it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, good idea.
So that's just one of the ideas I
You
have.
draft this up, you made this up?
Oh, no, that was drafted when I got here.
Okay.
Digital was all the rage in the way we should. But. Effective if I have a piece of paper. I'm just embarrassed to say
So the
that.
driver's gonna take it back to,
He's gonna take
to
it
the
back.
office.
Say it.
We're not.
We're-
That's why we're doing triplicate.
And that makes
Because we're not guaranteeing that the driver is gonna take it back to the office.
You might lose it, you might have
Yeah, but either way, the company will mail one out to them. That way they get it as well.
So another update on Robert, and this is, last Tuesday, 2 nights ago, the Ulster County Legislature approved the administrative hearing option. So now we have all three pieces that I've discussed, so we'll meet with him
Big deal.
in the coming week or so, set up like a system in how he wants us to, I think we'll probably set up one day a month in the county office building. We'll send out warnings and send, this is your hearing date if you want one, or you can pay a reduced fine. If you want a hearing, then you have to show up at 9 AM on this day, and then he'll have 10, 15 cases, whatever, and handle it all.
Why reduce fine?
As opposed to going through the time of the hearing. So I mean, that's how Dutchess County does it. That's how most, we wouldn't just say pay the fine. They're not going to just pay a full price fine to get out of a hearing. I mean, if they want to appeal it, if we say like pay a 75% reduced fine, again, which is what Dutchess County does, I think they do 50. They get a lot of people not go through the hearing process. It costs us money to go through the hearing process, and it costs us time to go through the hearing process.
And you may also say, look, if you schedule a hearing and you don't show up, then you get a surcharge on your fine. Because otherwise people might do that. They'll be like, I don't.
Well, it's whatever's in our book. The law, we
but-
can't.
Can we do that? I mean, I don't know.
We'd have to, that would be one of the recommended changes when we are there.
When's the last time we had the trifecta?
I just wanted to know, I've been on the board for 5 years and we've been
No.
talking about this since the beginning.
So it's a huge.
So this is this is great.
That's why.
It's really
Just
leverage.
wanted to be in the record though.
Yes. Yeah.
We did have it for a short amount of time, when met the independent hearing officer with our former agency counsel, and and she was gone.
So is this person is only dedicated just to us, or we just get one day?
Yeah,
Or-
we get one day. I mean, I think the contract's less than $10,000, and this individual lives in, I think, Westchester County and does health department appeal officers for multiple counties.
But so they're dedicated to us for that one day.
That one.
And other, so we pay that $10,000 and that's what we get.
We actually won't pay, the county pays it,
Whoever.
but yes. So the time that they use per month will be used going through all of the filings, and then that day that we set aside per month.
Yeah.
But it's only up for stuff that day.
Yes, yeah.
It's like a circuit judge in a way.
That's
Yeah,
great.
but there's a lot of preparation of going through all the cases and
Good.
it's
But
10,000 is incredibly cheap. Really, if you think
It's not gonna last all years.
Yeah.
That sounds like one.
But I think just getting the program started and seeing the value of it will induce more support for it as we go along. But this is a good start. Like I said, in my first meeting, I remember we talked about the need for an administrative judge. So congratulations on getting that.
Yeah, we're building this whole time.
Great, and thank you for being here. Is there anything else anything you want to ask the board or bring to our attention?
About permits, are we good on permits?
All the permits are approved except for 4. I have 2 of them, which I'm waiting on documentation. Then I have 2 that are still outstanding that I have been in contact with. So hopefully we'll see them.
So the question is, are they bringing waste here now? So
That's-
why are they allowed? Not a question for you, a question for you. Why are they being permitted? Why are they being allowed to bring waste here if they don't have a permit? There's one really quick way to have them complete their permit, and that's to say, hi.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
I mean, we have flow control, so to say that they can't bring waste here and they cannot bring waste anywhere else is a little bit of a difficult situation.
Don't see it.
Who are the 4 that,
Don't see it that way.
So the Speedy dumpster,
yeah,
Sweeney is missing a document, but he has everything.
right, so some of these folks have turned in applications in the process.
The 2 that I don't have applications for are Bullseye and Reber, who is gonna be a new hauler.
The River's brand new, I'm not sure they're coming.
During the summer, anyway, they only have 1 account here in Ulster County as of now, so we'll see them in the summer, but they do want to branch out into Ulster County.
Yeah.
So I have been working with their management team to get that. They're working on it.
2 are in the process and the only one that comes here
Currently,
currently does not.
gonna be coming here. It is almost March.
Thank you. And, the MSW tonnage report and recycling tonnage reports?
I'll just talk about highlights of the MSW report, tonnage report. So the MSW tonnage for the month was 7,996 tons, which was 600 and again, we're looking at this one, 661 tons less than our target. And in March, Tim DeGraff will be here to report out year end and January. C&D tonnage for the month, 1,623, which was 1,263 tons more than our target. So total tonnage, actually that does more, but it had to be less because the total tonnage for November was 9,619, which was 1,924 tons less. So that was 1,000 of the C&D, 1,263 was left. Year to date, we had 134,609, which was a little over 8,000 tons left on our target, or 5.7%, but right about on target for this year as we adjusted. Okay. Cycling, any questions about the MSW tonnage? You don't have to say, that's already right. We can, but recycling tonnage report, the green one. So most recycling volumes remained consistent for December. A majority of the commingle increase from November to December is from the city of Kingston, who pick up every other week.
Oh, I read that. I'm just following.
Increase in timing related, E3 pickups in December versus 2 pickups in November. Glasses depending on the number of roll-off box truck pickups we make during a month. Food waste has seen a reduction of incoming volume from our largest customer, organics. We finished the year with 5,031 tons. So it was good that we had our permit modified because we would have exceeded it by 31 tons, but we're not anywhere near the 7,500. I think sadly, during that long period of time when we had to start turning people away, organics started going to farms and doing other things. So We need to do a little bit more, I think, advertising and things on the feed base. Work on that.
Can I make a note really quickly? For social media, I would like to throw out, I forgot to shovel out a space to get to my compost. So it's been like, I've been like putting it in stuff and like putting it on the outside of my door, but just saying that would be a great thing to remind people, shovel out a space over here. Anyway.
Mark, was there one or two kind of larger, companies that were bringing to us that we lost or?
Organics was a big one, but we didn't lose them. But like some of their routes, they decided to take to farms for feed as opposed to bringing here. So they've kept some of their route here, but not all. It's been a big reduction from that.
Still doing it. I mean, it's the good news.
Yeah, I mean, but they were at one point like 3,500 of our 5,000 tons, and they're much less.
How are we leveraging the, isn't there certain, if you're a certain size, you're required to collect organics from restaurants and things? And how are we
Yeah, so the
leveraging that?
generators. So we work with the Department of the Environment to identify who the generators are. Letters go out. They have a choice. They can compost themselves. They can work with community compost, Greenways, with us. And so, but we are engaged with those generators on an annual basis.
So is that a compliance responsibility? Are we overstepping with that?
No, I mean, we don't, they ask for our assistance. We
Right.
don't work on compliance because the county executive, did not
There.
appoint us as they could have at the time. I was actually in that office at the time and there was a debate on who should be.
So who is enforcement?
The Department of the Environment really makes no sense.
Do they have staff, field staff that
No.
can do that?
No. Which is why we assist, but that's the way the system, so in the Climate Smart Communities grant, if we would have been successful in that, we would have taken that over. That was part of we don't have a compliance officer to do it either. It's not like I can tell Robert to stop doing flow control and recycling, which is, again, part of his responsibilities. It really should be probably the Department of Health, if I'm being honest, because they're in those restaurants anyway.
Yeah.
And they could just be fun for reason. There was a lot of pushback at the time back in 20.
Isn't the past executive director of this agency involved with the department?
Yes.
So you might have some influence there. Yeah. No.
Because when he was the executive director of this agency, he thought the Department of Health should be doing it. And now that he's in the Department of Health, he
Changed
thinks
his mind.
that he'd be- What is it?
Well, maybe you should revisit that. He's inconsistent.
Not consistent, he doesn't ever.
I will say that I oversaw 2 of the county departments. I thought the Department of Health should do it there. I'm fine doing it. We would just have to figure out, like, they should provide us some.
Right. You know, the past, the county executive and legislature has offered to assist us with things financially. And they always were just looking for the ask. So maybe that's the ask.
I've had an app for 2 years.
Okay.
And we were committed 2 million and then we were committed 1 million.
And so, the treasurer's report, is there more than, the empire?
Cost center report?
Sorry, yeah.
So total sales of collectibles for the month of December was 37,655. Total cost of residuals was 6,679. So our net revenues for about 31,000. Total personnel and operating costs for the month were 71,000. These were higher than normal due to December having 3 payroll worth of expenses. Net loss for the month was 40,304. Year-to-date net loss on the MERP was 292,000. In the prior year, we had a net loss of 154,000. Significant. Breaking even tipping fee would have had to be $55 a ton. And the current fiber and plastic markets continue to be weak. So that 55 is up a lot. You know, when we talk to you month after month, typically it's around 40. We typically say $40. And, you know, part of that is some of that is here. you know, on our trends analysis. But, you know, it's bouncing back slightly, but like a lot of the numbers, tin being down, mixed news being way down, OCC starting to rebound, but being down. To the point where we've held plastics in recent weeks, waiting. It was like 2 cents a pound. So we're waiting on certain ones. So we're waiting for it to get higher. We've also been holding glass because Charlie worked out a deal with Tomra, who's a big recycler up in Western New York area. So instead of taking it at $125 a ton down to Beacon for Republic, we're actually taking it up to Tomra now. Their council had been sitting on the contract, so we've literally held glass for like a month and a half, 2 months. They just sent us the fully executed copy. I think we did 3 or 4 runs up there on Friday of last week. They're charging us $40 a ton as opposed to $125.
Plus the gas and transportation.
We meet them in like Clifton Park area, and then they transport it the rest of the way. So we're not going all the way. They have like a, I don't know if it's a transfer station that we switch it off at, but we only take it about halfway. So it's about the same. It's not that actually much further than going to Republic and paying a third.
We don't. We haul it or one of our haulers hauls
We
it on one of our roll-off trucks?
Yes. That's how it comes in, the glass from the town. So the work permitted, we get the permit so that we can, and we have the overweight.
And then you just swap the box or how do you?
Yeah.
Is it for the rates to decrease in Q4, or is that just a strange trend this past year?
I'd have to go back and look up.
No.
In previous, they were all over the map.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't try to make sense of it. It's, yeah.
It's what it is. There is soil. If
Yeah.
you kind of overlap the two,
Correlation.
is more of a correlation than for seasonality or.
Really, that's interesting. Okay, so, the treasurer's.
Finally, the treasurer's report.
Now, wait, before we get to that, I just want to note, council, and I don't know if the board wants to discuss this, but I want to point out the work that, our council did on these, that we put in the board packet. I want to thank you for it. And I want to know if the board, there are any questions, or if you want to look at this, and we can take it up again next month. It was good information. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, can
Around here.
can we just finish the financial?
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Which one?
But for right now, we're doing the treasurer's report, which is this page right here. December always has year-end adjustments that only affect December, but are applicable for the entire fiscal year. Revenue lines of note, so miscellaneous revenues, 195,776. This includes a year-end accrual of 186,000 for insurance recovery. An August incident led to a tractor and dump trailer being totaled by our insurance carrier. So that was the 186. Grants, 217,605. This is a year-end accrual of the HHW and recycling grant revenues. Total revenue for the month of December was 1,945,073. Expense lines of note, personnel, 650,000 because of city payrolls. Plus 3 extra days accrued for 2025 payrolls that were paid in 2026. Also includes the year-end accrual for compensated absences, so sick vacation. Insurance, 50,731. And insurance. December is the start of the new policy year for general liability insurance. Vehicle and equipment maintenance of 47,142. We had repairs to our Samsung excavator and Manta. Total expenses for the month of December were 1,892,390. So we had a surplus of 52,683 for the month of December. which means for 2025, we had a surplus of 53,489. But remember, we had 850,000. Oh wait, there's one. We had 850,000 that was supposed to go into a capital, which we're not doing. So really a loss because of the loss of loss of tons off our target. We had about a loss of 800,000, but we're not going to show that. We're going to show 53,000.
But the 866, 952 capital outlay for the year,
That's different. That
we did.
we did that.
Okay.
That was capital outlay of the actual year. We were supposed to do a capital reserve fund. That was the discussion of the board.
Yep.
In the 25 budget.
Right. And we agonized whether to put a whole 1.5 million or split it in half roughly.
Yeah.
And the returns asked.
So remind me now, because we had bond repayment up until a year or two ago. Am I right about that?
We did.
How much was,
That was 1 point.
About 1.6.
that's how we were gonna show.
1.6.
So we had a $1.6 million payment every year that we no longer have. So it was like a once in a lifetime opportunity to, use that fund for some other things. And basically it's all gone, is what you're telling me. It's all gone. It's problematic.
So we used half of it.
It was there.
Well, we used half of it to keep the tipping fee low. And then our agreement was we were gonna set the others apart, about $850,000 as a capital reserve fund.
Right.
But because of our tonnage decrease this year, that money never materialized.
And also we have a lot more additional expenses. So there's a lot more additional expenses, which is concerning. I mean, we should be going down a tonnage. It should be more recycling. There should be less garbage. So we should be accounting for that in our budgeting process.
But we're not seeing.
And so it's concerning that we had this one opportunity for $1.5 million and it's now 53.
Well,
And
we'll still have the same opportunity this year because we don't have any more.
no, I don't think you're gonna get I think the expenses have increased and are not going down.
No, understood, but there's no more debt. Jim and Mark, I had three specific questions on this that are concerning. One is our insurance looks like from 24 to 25, it went up 25%. And I'm hoping we budgeted enough in 2026 to address that because we're $50,000 off from what we budgeted to what we paid. But is there a reason? I mean, I know policies go up, but 25% up, that seems like a.
We had an accident that's on,
Okay.
that is your for a couple.
And that's a total of all.
It's like a 23, 22, 22, 23 accidents that stayed on and really increased. But if you look at where other people are at across the board, yeah, we're at.
Does that insurance line include health insurance, liability, property, everything?
Yeah.
Oh, it does include health insurance too.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Where are you at? So this,
The
right?
third,
By
under
47.
administrative expenses, yes.
That's all.
That's all, everything insurance, okay. I wasn't sure if health insurance was maybe broken out separate somewhere. Okay, then the other question is, and I think I know the answer because it looks like we adjusted for it, but the solid waste disposal costs went up 75% from 24 to 25. Went up from 4 million to almost 7 million. So it's a $3 million jump in 1 year. And that's just the cost of, okay.
Yeah.
And then the CLE monitoring and maintenance, I see we had almost 177,000 compared to 76 the year before, but it looks like we only budgeted 35 for 25. So what caused that huge jump in 1 year? And is that something that's going to continue?
Well, so you're
It's the
176.
third line above where the break is.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
in 25, there were some circuit breakers and other things at the pump at the Ulster landfill
Okay.
that we had to replace. And then also, in here was the the road that we did on our own.
So it's a one-shot deal. It's not gonna be that bad for next year
Correct.
or this year. Okay. Those were just the three that jumped out at me looking at it, so.
Yeah, I mean, insurance is up across the board. Everybody that you talk to.
Yeah.
It's extremely high. We had an accident that was the bigger
Yeah. I know.
auto accident that it's impacted us. We both, yeah.
So on the insurance though, so I have another question on insurance. So the resolution that's up for today is to add another $50,000 a year to our insurance expenses. That's not even reflected on here. So this is going to be 117 plus another $53,000 a year. So I just want to make sure I understand that.
I mean, we have budgeted for that, so it's not.
You have budgeted for what?
You're looking at 2025. He's talking about 2026 budget.
Yeah, we budgeted in the 26 budget,
For a resolution that wasn't passed?
anticipating that, talking to the board that it would pass, yeah. I mean, the budgeted part there, if we didn't spend it, we didn't spend it, but it was budgeted.
I'm not sure if I could budget for something that hasn't even passed yet, but just so everybody's aware.
Projection.
So everybody's aware this $117,000 deficit is going to increase to about 170,000.
Not a-
170,000.
It's not a deficit, it's a difference from one year. to the
Difference.
next. Yeah, it's not a deficit.
The expense is going up by $53,000.
Yeah.
But it's
Probably.
budgeted for.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
So we do need a motion to, I mean, unless there's more questions on the treasurer's part, and then we can talk about those resolutions, but if there's no, I need a motion.
Right, I'll accept the motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor of accepting the treasurer's report? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The treasurer's report. And forgive me for jumping the line. I just did want to acknowledge the work that we put into this. And since the board, I read it, and I was like, well, this answers a lot of questions. I don't know if you had a chance to read it, and if not,
Now, which
this is council's memorandum that was in your packet. And if
There's
you haven't had a
like
chance to look at
three.
it yet, if you want to discuss it, but you haven't had a chance to read it, then let's put it on the
We have to
agenda
have
for
a-
next month. Yeah, I don't want to rush this.
Oh.
You know, if you have questions, there's a lot of information here. I just didn't want it to be, forgotten.
So one of the memos was directly related to the resolution, so I think.
And it
we
was
should probably talk about,
Okay.
that during that time. If anybody has questions, and we can just do it during the executive director report, I'll just defer to Nancy, but if anybody has questions on the memo on the remote proceedings, and
Clear to me. First page.
I know when I first read it, the one thing that didn't make sense, but it's actually the law, is that you can vote, but you cannot count as a quorum
Right.
if you do not provide your address. If you were to provide your address because you knew, right, then you would count as.
What that means is somebody.
But that means has to be open to the public.
Exactly. And it has to be advertised as this meeting is happening here and at that location.
Correct.
And so,
So that if it comes to us and says, I'm here for the meeting, you better say. come on.
but and
Exactly. Can we throw a pizza party?
Nancy, clarify for me though, I think we have to adopt a resolution to allow meetings to happen at another location, don't we?
Well, that's, is that in here?
Can I finish? Thank you. Because that's what the legislature had to do when they first did that law about remote meetings, was they had to adopt a local law. I'm assuming we would have to adopt a resolution to allow a meeting to take place in two places. The secondary is if it's the unusual circumstance, which I know is not the correct wording, but it's the illness, then you can take part, but you can't be part of the. You can vote, you're still participating, but there has to be a quorum in the room.
Right.
And the other part, and I guess you guys already did in 2022, this body has to declare a resolution to allow that to happen. So predating most of us or some
Students.
yeah. But the first option of having meetings in two places, I thought you had to have adopted the ability for that to happen. Because that's what the legislature had to do when one of the legislators, quite frankly, would had perfect attendance and was on his honeymoon and decided he wanted to attend.
Is this like a one-off? Is that kind of reaching? I mean, I can appreciate that, but how often is that really gonna happen?
Yeah.
I can't imagine that.
Yeah, it just
Ever.
depends on what body you are. The Ulster County Legislature probably has it once every 2 months.
Yeah.
Where they have to advertise, like
Right.
this last month. Minority Leader Roberts was in Florida and they advertised it at his location in Florida. The address, people were welcome to come. And he was on remote. That happens with 23 members in a body,
Yeah.
probably like
But it,
every other month.
in fairness, it didn't happen for a really long time. It was a one-shot deal, and then suddenly it became more popular. And as more legislators chose to do it, then other ones followed suit. But you know, I mean, I don't know how anybody else feels. I'm not. It's a lot of work.
Can we
I'm
just have some
not.
clarification? Can we just see if it makes sense to do that?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be another research and
Yeah.
not on the spot.
And then and then we'll find out, we'll see.
Because I'm not sure that it is required to pass. I mean, that was long before COVID and I think, but
It was, and the law may have changed, but I think, if I remember correctly from when I was supervisor and I researched it pretty thoroughly, the new law was, because there was a temporary law put in place during COVID, it was set to expire.
Well, why don't we give her a chance to research?
No,
it?
I know, but
This anyway, we can
you
do
don't
that.
have, there's nothing to vote on.
Oh, that's
but I can still say what I understand that.
Right,
You can't-
but-
being interrupted constantly.
Well, it's pretty frustrating when we're trying to move a meeting forward and we have a solution that we're gonna get next month
Fair enough.
definitively.
Fair enough. I'll stop asking questions.
No, I'm not asking you to stop asking questions. I'm asking you to move on when it's time to move on.
It's a question.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's not a question, it's just a point. When I read this, I noticed that sickness, right? We talked about this. If you are sick, you can't be sick that day. You have to notice 4 days ahead of time. So just everybody's aware, you can't just say, hey, I'm not feeling well today. I've got the runs. You can't, you have to give 4 days notice in order for it to qualify for this exemption. So it's not that easy to accept this exemption. If somebody's getting cancer treatment or something like that, I could see it
Right.
totally fitting in, but an immediate illness, which usually happens, you can't use this exemption. Use it.
Not currently because of the resolution that
Yeah.
was passed by the prior board.
So if we're gonna make other changes, and it might, like Mike suggested, then maybe we would incorporate that too, if that's what the board desires.
I think it would be a yes, and I think it would be this resolution, which yes, I think could be edited. And also what Mike's suggesting for Nancy's research and before having further discussions. But yeah, I mean, if I'm sick, I would have to
Well, it with these days with COVID,
let you know.
somebody might know that they have COVID a week before the meeting.
That's one.
Right, I know, but I'm just saying, there are examples.
There are examples, so for sure, like I said, cancer treatments.
I mean, yes, and if I'm sick, I'm not tuning in.
But then
Virtual meeting.
it's fine, but you just can't vote with them, you know.
Mhm.
It kind of holds us back a little bit.
Perhaps. So, let's move on to the executive director report, please.
So you all have this. I'll go quickly and summarize. I attended the 4 stakeholder meetings, Town Supervisors Association, the EMC, Energy and Environment Committee. Those 3 are kind of normal monthly meetings, except for the EMC. For 2 of those, did the Together Towards Zero. We are planning on getting more of these on the calendar in each of the different towns, and I would encourage, especially, I'll work with you all to get it on dates that you're available, especially if I'm in a town that's near where you are, but I'll always send you the dates when I'm just going into like, so I think it's the 7th of March. 7th of April, I'm going to Gardner. So anybody wants to join, and I'm just going to the Gardner Town Hall, like the town board meeting, but I'm gonna do that. So,
Last year. a little bit?
A little bit, but we only did two. I only did two. The one in Ellenville was great and attended well. The one in Shungum had nobody.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start them again based on the global energy and the new presentation. As I said, it's been a little bit of a lull, with the global energy project. I have a meeting on Monday with kind of the principals from that team. They have sent over kind of a very early template just of their agreement. Long way to go to negotiating actual contract terms, but so that we could get both Nancy and probably outside counsel to start taking a look at it. So we're there. Their engineers are working on their permitting scope and they've for Repower, the RIC, last Friday sent an award out to Big Reuse. They are working with the team of a couple local contractors as well, which is a furniture repair company called Bound and Fixed. And a company called Circularly, that probably sounds familiar because Circularly also helped with the circular economy report. It was something that came up in the evaluation committee meetings, like some of the members were concerned about a conflict of interest with them having done that work and then being a part of this team. I will say that there was no, it was very separate as far as like, there was no information about the RFP sent over. The circular economy report, strategy report, while the Repower project might have been a piece of it, there was not details. There was no kind of benefit from them being on that and giving them.
And where's Big Reuse from?
New York City, they have a Brooklyn store. I think they've just started their third store. They do both reuse, but they also do composting in Central Park with the New York City. They really helped with the rollout of their curbside organics program. But they have, I think now maybe 3 reuse facilities down in the city.
Is there any way to request or go into contracting to have them come in or even project to the board a little summary of, because I was involved, so I got to see the 3 vendors, but the rest of the board, I don't know how. It'd be great if the rest of the board could have the same information, and maybe they do to some extent. But
Yeah, so I can ask,
you know,
I can ask, I'll ask the board whether you would prefer to wait, so my goal is to have Nancy have something ready for the next board meeting for contract wise. I could have them come in and they could present and, answer questions at that time. And then the resolution could be voted on later, or we could push it off another month. I want us to get this work started. This is different for some of you because we did the global energy RFP process like we did it. That was a one-off. That is, that's seismic shift for the agency and how we're conducting business. We do RFPs all the time that we have no board members on the evaluation committee for engineering services, other things. We thought it was a good idea to have one board member on this one. So,
Did they share any collateral that you could just email to us to read through?
yeah, I can send you the
Yeah, if you
proposal.
can see their proposals, that might help.
Yeah, we can send over the proposals now.
I'll be honest, that I would probably abstain if I don't know
Yeah.
3 comparisons.
I really firmly believe that the board should be more advised. This is a huge expense and it's a huge step for us. And I really think that it would be very important for the board to see this vendor before we're making a vote on a contract for a major initiative. I find that I'm a little disturbed. Actually, there was a press release that went out today that announced that we're selecting a company that we don't even have a contract with. It seems like we're running and that's good because there's a sense of urgency and that's very important. But you have to get the buy-in. You have to have a contract. It could fall through the cracks. You could have no contract. We could come up with 0 agreement And the board members haven't even been involved in knowing anything about, anything about this vendor. I think we need to step back a little.
We even have a facility yet, because of the last time we talked, we weren't sure we could afford the facility we were talking about.
There's a lot of questions.
No, we don't have a site. It wasn't last time we talked, there wasn't a site last time, so it wasn't a discussion on whether it could be afforded. I mean, we have looked at a number of sites. This is one step in the process for the project. They're not gonna start until we have a site. If the board chooses not to contract with them, that's fine. The press release was about awarding the RFP, which we have done. So.
It's good to get positive news out as much as possible.
That's true, but it does put us on, in terms of negotiation with the vendor, it's not a good thing to have the press release issued before contract negotiations have commenced. And
My guess is they probably want the work. They wouldn't have gone to all the trouble, so I don't think they'll use that against us. But I do think it's a good idea that we get more information. So maybe
Yeah, I can send the proposals over.
send the proposals over and maybe not. I mean, how does the board feel? You want to wait till the following month and vote on the contract?
Who's the evaluation committee?
It was Donna, myself, Kevin, Angie, and Tim Wiedemann.
No, I think, I think if you share the information between now and the next meeting, we can all look at it. And if you share it now, if we have questions that we can direct directly to you in between.
Yeah.
To me, that would be fine, and rather than saying, let's wait another month, let's see what the questions come out of the discussion. But I just kind of feel like this decision, to me, it's different than an engineer. I don't know why, I can't really express it in words, but it's an engineer. They're all sort of working on the same data. It's a different thing than company that's going to be kind of the face of
Major,
the
yeah.
UCRRA.
major decision for us.
Yeah,
Well, there was,
The chair of the government.
was it
So
recorded?
I wonder if somewhere we can clarify what the process is when there is a committee, like what information comes to the board and how
Yeah.
moving forward, so that this kind of thing doesn't come up. And since I'm the chair of the governance committee.
Exactly.
I mean, I think maybe the first start is to send out what a governance board is, and I think this information's been shared versus an operating board. And so I think just having a level set on what a governance board's roles are
Mhm.
versus an operating board,
Mhm.
and then happy to have continued conversations.
Cool.
But the presentations were recorded though. Couldn't you send the recording out to the board members?
Only, well, were they all, I mean, we recorded the one because you weren't
I
there.
think you recorded them all.
I'll have to go back and look.
But either way, we'll get the information. We'll get the
Right.
we'll
Yeah,
get.
they're
And maybe we can have a discussion as to how to streamline.
just getting their presentations for me would be fine. To just have it, to be able to look at what they're saying they're gonna do and. Cause I don't know that I could review a contract without knowing what they said they were gonna do.
Yeah, I would say the proposals, not the present. I mean,
Proposals.
the proposals, the written
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the presentation's only gonna give you half of one.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I can
Proposals,
send
the
those.
written proposals, yeah.
I know we have 100 miles north, so that's what I'm saying. That one may not be relevant. That was the one that I know we recorded because you weren't part
Yeah,
of
but
it.
I was part into the other one. I joined a little bit into that one, so I think you were recording that one as well, unless you stopped the. I mean, that would be useful.
The proposals, I think, are fine. I just, yeah, just to see what was.
So you're proposing that we're gonna have contract to vote on next month?
Well, we're not meeting again until the fourth weekend.
With them.
No, we're not meeting you're not meeting as a board until the fourth Thursday of March.
Doesn't think it's a good idea to
That's
have,
6 weeks.
meet the people and have a presentation?
Well, we don't
like
have
that?
to vote on the contract if we don't like what we see in the proposals. So why don't we get the proposals first and then decide what we want to do? And then if we want, at that point, we can ask Mark to.
We can always table it until the next meeting if we're not comfortable with voting.
I mean, I saw it also, I know, but it seems like,
And I feel like there's some level of trust that we have to have.
Exactly,
Evaluation committee.
exactly.
Trust you in the evaluation.
it wasn't perfect, you know, it
It's
was,
just,
Well, yeah, but we'll never get anything.
More context, the better for all.
Here it is. Thank you.
So just to summarize, so we're gonna get the proposals of these three companies before, and it's timely.
You want the proposals of the three?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think to compare, so, and that'll give us a better understanding of what selection that was made, you know, when we get to compare the whole gamut of what was proposed. And if the board has questions, please don't wait till the meeting to forward them to Mark. Please get the information back to him right away. And then
What about the recording? You can try to look into that as well. Were you interested in that or not interested in that?
I'd rather see, let me see at least personally, I want to see the proposals first, and then if I need to see the proposal, I will request it if it's available.
Whatever you can find, Mark, send it all.
Yeah.
And then, so your schedule, just to remind me, and so you hope to have this contract presented and ready for approval next month,
At the March meeting.
which is 5 weeks away. So, okay. Yeah,
So they would be here to answer any questions ahead of that resolution.
Oh, cool. That's what I was driving at.
good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's how we've done things in the
Right.
past, is like, if we have a group that is the contract is in front of you all, we've had them come and be available to answer questions.
Okay, good. And so then, yeah, so having all that information so we can ask intelligent questions as opposed to trying to learn on the fly, I think it was a good
Mhm.
idea.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Now mattress recycling. Which again is something I just want to note. Since I got on the board 5 years ago, we talked about recycling mattresses and now it's actually happening. So congratulations, everybody who made it happen, staff and that's great. I'm interested to see that 200 mattresses was considered low. How many, what is expected?
Well, so again, right now, our program is only recycling mattresses that we receive here, so that's roughly about 10,000 mattresses a year. So we're a month in, we should be closer to 800.
Okay.
Again, January is a slower,
Right, and with the
January, February are always slower months for that kind of thing because people aren't home, clean outs, and they're not getting new mattresses.
And they got snowed in and they couldn't get a mattress out even if they wanted to.
And we only had about half, right? Because of the box springs.
Correct.
We're not taking the ones that are coming from the transfer stations? Because I thought we were asking. the
Yes,
transfer
so
station-
sorry, but the transfer stations come here. So
Okay.
we're not taking the ones
I
from
misunderstood.
because New Paltz, everything gets put into a truck and directly to the landfill, right? It doesn't come here and then go to the landfill. So we're not.
The transfer stations that come here, 'cause
Correct.
they were asked to put it on the top of
Yes.
the loads.
We
Make
are,
it easier, so I want to make sure we were pulling those off.
So we're missing all the new pools ones then?
Yeah.
Could that be phased in eventually? though?
eventually.
Yay, the
And then- 40th anniversary.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal.
Angelina was the first to point that out. I don't know. I would have missed it. Probably. I don't pay attention to those details. I thought I was 48 all year. Until my wife was like 47. So, yeah, kudos to Angelina, but we have some things planned. Again, including a sticker, the school education stickers.
They didn't give you any of the spiders though, huh? I saw that.
I know, they didn't have any, they're out of this, well, they didn't give us. If you want to take an I voted sticker on your way out, we have rolls of them now.
Well, whatever. May I ask a question?
Certainly.
Um,
That was actually
the,
some questions for the executive director.
I put you in contact with the new Plattekill town supervisor. Were you able to set up anything with him?
No, so I think you saw me respond,
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
so is the ball in his court? Because I'll speak to him.
but I'll reach out.
I have a question on the energy. I know it's super early in planning and all that, but is part of your plan to engage local counties and the region to talk about the proposal and everything? It's part of the plan. Good.
Yeah, I've been asked by a citizen, so not, someone who saw the presentation at the EMC meeting, if I would, present to the Sullivan County Legislature.
For which one? Lily?
For global energy.
Oh, well, yeah.
Just curious what the surrounding counties think about the plan and if they have got feedback.
Well, what are they
And
doing now?
feedstock.
They're,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and the landfill. Ideally, like, again, I think I've discussed this, but like the ideal situation would be where we could take some amount of some other counties. They would site a landfill. We would have their waste diverted, anaerobic digestion, and then everything go back.
And what would go back would be stuff that can't be anaerobically digested, would have to go in the landfill.
It wouldn't be organic waste, so it wouldn't have the odors, and it would, right.
And it would be a lot less.
Right.
Just so the people who are watching at home and don't understand how this might be, you know, are thinking.
And just to clarify, Mark, based on some of the public comments, this has to go through, it has to go through seeker. It also has to go through a DEC review process, is that correct? And also likely, if not definitely, a local municipal board, planning board review potentially. So there's a number of reviews.
We are early in this process.
Exactly.
I know it feels like late for people because we're talking about contract. A company like this is not going to start spending the money that they need to spend for design and permitting until there's a contract. So it could mean like, and the contract will have outs for both them and us at many ways along this process, to where if something comes up through any of the permitting, through the environmental review process, we can say, this is not working.
But I just, for the people that are speaking and saying there's a lot of questions to be asked, there's going to be many opportunities for those to be brought up in review boards who answer those questions. And as you said, the contract is sort of the start of the process. We're probably talking, and I hate to estimate, but we're probably talking several years away before any of this comes to fruition. So, and then there's a construction period of time after that. So I think we should not, personally, I think we should not be waiting to see what else is going to happen. As you said, there's many outs in the process.
Right. I mean, in the presentations, the last slide that I give, and I'll send it all to you because it's changed. And I think I've sent previous versions of the Together Towards Zero, but there's new slides. So I'll send you the ones that we just recently did with the Democratic Caucus. The timeline at the end, I mean, which is an aggressive timeline, I feel like, shows operation in 29. Like that's
aggressive.
And that's aggressive. So.
But if you don't get a little aggressive with this, then you're not.
That's a 2-year permitting process and then a 1-year construction and 6 to 7 months to get to even starting designing.
And any other questions for the executive director? Great, thank you. Thank you all for the good questions and the good answers. All right, so now we'll move on to resolutions. Resolution 2670, approving amendments to the personnel policy. I'll accept a motion for discussion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second please.
Second.
Okay, all right. Discussion on this motion? Anyone want to start? Okay.
I appreciate you, the rewrite on the retiree health insurance coverage, so it's much clearer. And I did talk to Mark a little bit today about, I had about on the longevity bonuses. I hadn't seen this one before. I personally had about 6 questions. I couldn't really understand exactly how it worked. I know you guys all know how it works because you're in the weeds, but a new employee might not. So I had requested a rewrite on this particular one so that it's clear as a bell. Anybody with a 5th grade education should be able to read it and understand it. And I was not able to. I had a lot of questions, and you had to interpret. You had to interpret it, but it should not be something where I have to ask for interpretation. It should be clear as a bell on what I'm getting as a new employee. That's what the employee manual is all about. It keeps you out of legal, right? Because so that was my suggestion on that. I don't know if I had a chance to rewrite it or.
Yeah, I mean, I have not had a chance to rewrite it today. I did take kind of your questions and put them to a test, and my hypothesis failed because a couple of the people who I asked to read it and just thought that maybe similar to you, that it would only be at like year 3 and year 5 that you would get the longevity. So,
we're in discussion, right? I mean, could we prove that next time after it's rewritten? You can't.
Yeah, I mean, so
rewrite it now.
I would rather pass this and then, either we could change the resolve to have, I mean, in a lot of our contracts, like, there's some discretion with the executive director and the agency council tweaking like grammatical words, right, of a policy. So the concerns are that it's unclear where it says a longevity bonus, even though it says paid annually to qualified non-union employees according to the following schedule, that like it could be interpreted that they would get $1,000 at the 3rd anniversary date, 1,500 at the 5th, 2,000 at the 10th, as opposed to what the intention is they get 1,000 on the 3rd anniversary date, they get 1,000 on the 4th anniversary date,
Yeah.
they get 1,500 on the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
We could do this amendment right now in that we say, you just put a chart and you say 3rd anniversary date,
I
1,000,
agree.
4th anniversary date, 1,000,
Understand.
instead of putting it in a paragraph form. And I think we can all visualize what that's going to be. And we could adopt this now
With the chart.
with the chart being the change to be made at a later time, or, so.
Feels good.
I do want to just clarify, the only thing we're changing in here from what is in the current policy is the numbers. So this longevity bonus, and it's not, I'm not saying excuse, but this is in here and understood by employees, but you should be able to understand it as a new employee.
How many members are non-union that this would actually apply to? Just curiosity. Yeah, so, yeah. So, but I think if you substitute a chart for that
That's-
wording,
we can
that'll
do
just solve it and we can.
Well, I don't know about substitute. Why not use both? Why not have the chart and?
I can just add a chart.
Yeah, just add a chart, because that way you have the language as
Okay.
well, because some people are visual and some people like.
Whatever.
I
I have the same.
I understand that the language is confusing because the word annually just it's there, but it's kind of lost because it's in the middle of this sentence and stuff. So a chart on your 3rd anniversary, you get this, on your 4th, you get this.
Can I put like 20th anniversary and be like 20th plus?
Plus,
I don't want to go to like
absolutely. No,
50.
no, when you get to the top 20
577.
and future.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
And then, and also just clarify,
Been composted.
longevity bonus payment shall not be added to the employee's base.
Yeah, that's,
What does that mean?
that's
That-
clear.
Huh?
That's clear.
It's not, it wasn't clear to me.
What part is not clear?
The longevity bonus.
Shall not be added to the employee's annual fees. So what does that mean to you?
It's treated as a separate payment.
Right, it's treated as a separate payment.
It's different.
Yeah. And actually, they're gonna want it as a separate payment, because if they get it in their normal paycheck on top of their normal pay, they're gonna give most of it back in taxes. So-
Well, but it's taxed. Bonuses are taxed.
Yes, but if it's done as 2 checks, they're taxed at a lesser rate. Because if you suddenly get 1 week where you make $4,000 a week and all your other weeks are 1,000,
That washes
The
out
IR
the end when you do.
it does, but you don't get the money back until the end of the year. Yeah, it hurts
It's really
people.
not that clear. around
It hurts people in their day.
In the future, for sure, we should, charts are great.
So what
That's a
would
great
be,
way.
okay, but so what we've agreed is that you'll add a chart that will keep the language and maybe tweak it and improve it.
Yeah, if you take the language, it doesn't matter. The chart would explain everything.
Did we get the motion?
Yeah, we have a
We
motion to discuss.
Well, I said that,
We have a motion to discuss
yeah,
it.
and if you
We don't
want,
have a motion to amend.
yeah, I'll make a motion to amend as discussed.
That'd be appendix.
The charts.
I second.
Okay, so all,
Wait, where are we now?
so now we're approving a motion to make the amendment of adding a
Is
chart.
that an amendment really, or is it just that?
It's an amendment to the resolution,
Amendment to the appendix.
yeah.
Just to make it official.
So we're just only, that's the only thing we're approving now, right?
Yeah.
We're voting.
Yes, we're approving.
Well, so first we have to vote on the amendment and then we vote on
Then we
the
vote on the
resolution.
All right, so all in favor of the change in appendix C as discussed? For the amending appendix C, aye.
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 Right.
Okay, opposed? We're gonna put a chart in that. Now back to the general discussion about the resolution itself.
Mhm.
Are there other concerns that people want to bring up? Other discussion items?
I already mentioned it earlier today, but this is very expensive for people that don't even work for the agency. So $53,000 a year. Additional cost of the agency, we're already stretched for spouses,
46,000 for sure.
46.
And we've had this discussion before,
Oh,
and,
yes.
The 7,450 is for employees.
and just for people who are listening at home, we've discussed this before, and it seems good policy to take care of the families of our workers, because then we have better workers, and we have a better chance to land good workers in a very competitive.
Can I make a motion?
You can just call the
No,
president.
he's-
Oh,
Where are question, but you can.
So if there's any
you can't
other,
really call.
Yeah, is there any other discussion on this? If not, I'll be happy to vote on resolution number 2670.
Yeah, because we made a motion to discuss,
Right.
and then we amended C, so now the motion is already made, so all we.
So now-
Actually, we have to vote.
You're doing great. All right.
Parliamentary procedure.
I personally am in favor of resolution number 2670. Aye.
I,
I'm.
Okay.
I'm opposed.
Okay. So it passes 4-1. Thank you, everybody. Resolution number 2672, approving Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency gender-based violence and the workplace policy.
I'll make the motion.
Second it.
Okay. And Mark, you
Sorry.
wanna,
Second?
One of us. Yes.
you just want to explain, remind the board what this is about and the people who are watching at home?
yeah, so this is time sensitive because this is a requirement that just happened towards the end of last year. That the state required contractors to have a gender-based violence in the workplace and the workplace policy. We have an HHW grant application that's due at the end of this month that has to certify that we have. So Nancy found a model policy that the state provides along with the law, tweaked it to fit UCRRA. Where we're at, we've already flagged and struck. There is a random 10 on page 7 after sick leave, so that has been found and struck.
said that like 20 times. I was like, no, still don't get it. Excellent.
And this is our policy, we need it, and then also we impose it upon folks that work for us as well, contractors that work for us. What is it?
No, we are a contractor for the state.
Oh, it's because we're contracted.
We are a contractor. for the state.
Any further discussion on resolution 2672?
Really good work.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great.
And in fact, so good that it's not in here, but there is like a gender-based violence liaison, I think is the title, right? And so Nancy and I have discussed,
Oh, that's great.
it would be Nancy. She's also the sexual harassment officer. So
Well, I have some further discussion. All in favor of resolution number 2672? Aye.
I,
Opposed? Okay, unanimous. I believe that brings us to the end of the agenda as written. I have a question.
Yeah, and thank you for allowing me to speak now, but I just wanted to be sure that, I asked the county legislature's attorney, if there was any oversight that the legislature would have over the contract. And typically, according to the agreement, it's, I believe it went from 500,000 bonding to
80 million.
80 million. But this is more than 80 million, but the agency's not doing the bonding. However, one of the things that is still needing to be clarified is that quite likely the local solid waste management plan would have to be revised or amended. And that was approved by this board and by the legislature. So there's some connection. And if I know something, I want to share it with the board so that you're aware. If he's looking into it more, but I expect that part of the process is going to have to be amending the local solid waste.
The anaerobic digestion is in the local solid.
Yes, that's what I was speaking about. Thank you.
It is in the solid waste, the 10-year solid waste. Being at least considered.
As being considered, but if a contract is developed, it's different than being considered. So I'm not a lawyer, but I trust we have very good legal counsel, and I just wanted you to know that that question has come up and is being explored.
Okay, thank you. We still have a quorum, so I will accept a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Are you making a motion to you had your hand?
Sure, no, I
This is
was about to say, I'll make the motion.
Where's the already made it?
Yeah,
Second. Okay.
I didn't know if you.
No.
All in favor of
I'll make that motion.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Yay. Okay.